and welcome to Feeding the Soul with Mirthell. Today I will be fixing oatmeal waffles. Yeah, natural oatmeal waffles. I'll be also having a special guest on to keep me company in the kitchen. Well, gotta start feeding my wife and kids, so let's get started. Okay, now that we got that part started, I would like to introduce you to my guest for today. Hi, Valene, how are you doing?
Hi, Mirthell. I'm awesome. Good to see you.
Yes, good talking to you. We get the privilege of touching base with each other every now and then.
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, sometimes it's not enough, but you know, life.
I know.
Yeah.
And you are a seriously busy woman. This is Valene Campbell. She is my friend, but she is also the author of the Amazing Zoe series. I can't say that she is a new author anymore because she's just constantly writing a new book every time
you know, what a life it's been this year. I know, like, a lot of people talk about the woes of COVID-19, and it's been difficult for a lot of people. I don't want to take that away, but it also has sprung a lot of great new initiatives. And you're right. I mean, we've been in COVID for a year now, but I've been writing now this series for over a year. Time flies.
Right.
I'm not new.
So guys, this is Valene Campbell, and we're going to get a little bit more into her being an author. She is also a founder of Health and Wellness. It's an entrepreneurship. She's an entrepreneur. So this is another one of the things that she has founded. In fact, that came before her writing books. So we're going to talk about all of it. But right now, I just want to welcome you to my show, Feed the Soul with Mirthell. Valene, thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me. So good to be here.
Valene, we're going to get into what she does, but for now, I just want to share, this is another one of my old-time friends. I think that we go back, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but we go
I know. I'm going to plug my ears.
Over 30 years.
Oh!
I can't believe it. It's unbelievable. And then when you look at them, you're like, but isn't she in her 20s or isn't he, you know? Like,
bless you, my friend. Bless you. Bless you. I try, you know. But yeah, I mean, you know what's so weird? I never thought there'd be a time where I'd be like, yeah, you know, 30 years ago. Like, what? 30 years ago.
I know my body feels that way, but I don't feel I look that way.
I understand, especially if you have something to pick up off the floor. Oh boy.
What are you gonna lean on? That's an all-day process.
It's true. It's true. So yeah, you're touching on how long we've known each other. We started off in the church, you know, I mean, still there, but that's where we met. Your family is incredible. They've known my family for some time as well.
Great.
Yeah, your dad dearly departed, but he baptized me. That's a big thing for me. That's one of those life marks that you will never forget, you know.
My dad used to visit your families. Pastors, oftentimes, you know, they'll go and they'll visit in the homes of families. My dad was a visiting pastor.
He was.
And I would tag along with him, and that's where our friendship blossomed, because sometimes, you know, we had our crew of all our friends, guys and girls, but when my dad would go into the home, and he oftentimes would like to go to your home when he's driving through, and I'm with him, because he'd like to go and open your fridge and find out what's inside.
Yeah, honestly, he was a rare one. He was a rare one. Like, he was so warm and welcoming, and just, he fits right in wherever. And you know what? A lot of the times he wasn't visiting for our home specifically. Like, he would do his rounds, but he's like, hey, the Campbells, I'm going to stop by. And
exactly.
Who can forget that?
I was with him. I was happy because I got to see Valene, and then we would rap and find something to do around, you know, if you were home.
Foolishness. So
we had a lot of fun back then. And it's great to know that you're doing well and you have a daughter. She's such a ball of joy and beauty, inspiration. Yeah. And that brings us to where we are today, where we were going to talk a little bit about where that has brought you in your life.
Oh, wait, before you get into that, what are you cooking? Mirthell, honestly, before I even ask that question, you have been killing cooking. Like, I'm talking, it's so gourmet-ish, you know, like you're really into presentation, you're really into like color. It's awesome. So tell me, what are you cooking today?
Yes, I've been feeding my wife and kids from the time I was married. So it's like 20 odd years, and it's a passion and it's a joy of mine. That's how I express my love to my family, just by making sure they're well fed. And
Yes.
as I've been getting older, I'm paying attention more to, you know, making sure that it's healthy as well. But I can't compromise the taste because I'm a foodie and I love to eat. So.
Hello. Yes.
so I've been getting into the plant-based lifestyle. And so today I am fixing oatmeal waffles. And so why I love oatmeal waffles is because you can still get that nice texture and flavor and everything in it, but it's not going to, if you're a diabetic, getting up in age, you're not going to like your sugars with oatmeal because literally there is no flour in it. You're grinding.
So it's gluten friendly, as people talk about these days, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
You're actually grinding up the oatmeal to find flour, and then you're using that as your flour base.
Okay, now that I never thought about that. So do they come out nice and fluffy? I'm sure they do.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to see.
You're adding bananas in it to give it that flavor. You're adding maple syrup, you know, different things like that. Coconut sugar, all of those things.
That sounds good.
If you're a diabetic, you want to be able to be utilizing those things because of the index, the glycemic index.
Right. Yes, I remember learning about that. Good for you. Good. You're doing an awesome job. I love seeing the new recipes you pop up. So keep going. I can't wait to see.
Thank you so much. But what are you cooking up in the kitchen? Because you're just about everything. It seems like you're in the healthcare. I remember when I first saw it come up, it was several years ago, and you were launching a company that was a home health company. And then now you've launched and become an author. So let's talk a little bit first about your first company that you launched.
Sure.
We'll get into like the fun stuff, like the writing.
Okay, well, sure. So I can't believe it now. We're going on to 6 years. This year will be 6 years since launching the home healthcare company. And, you know, what we do, it's physiotherapy, we have occupational therapy, we have nursing assistants and so forth. So they support people in the homes. And it's been quite the journey. I mean, I don't know if I've learned so much in life outside of starting that company because I don't have a business background. My background is physiotherapy, but they don't teach you all the ins and outs of running a business, right? You know, I spoke to your wife earlier today, and she talked about sometimes you may be at a crossroads and you may be considering going in a different direction. I haven't decided that yet. I mean, we're still working, we're still going through it, but authorship is something that has creeped into my soul. And I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So
that is amazing. So
let's
talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Did it creep into your soul before you had little Zuri, or now she's what? She's about 3 now, or 2?
No, she's gonna be 2 in June. She's gonna be 2. Okay. But you know what? She 100% accelerated it. Okay. Let's say that. Because Mirthell, you know how it is. You know, growing up in the church, it's like skit after skit after skit, right? Yes. You can't be in a church without having a good afternoon program or even in the day program with a skit, right? Oh. So you know you've acted in some of them. Yes. I also have acted in many of them.
Really cringe ones. Oh.
Yes, you know. And a lot of people have great beginnings, foundation beginnings in the church. We cannot deny that. Right. And I did some of those things along the years and I really enjoyed them. And in later years, my parents had their 40th anniversary some time ago, and pastors leaving the church. So I organized, you know, skits around that. And I'm like, I really love this stuff, right? Yeah. And keep in mind, well, I got to touch on this. We have Jamaican parents. Yeah. We have West Indian parents. Okay, let me take it there and let you understand something. When I met you, I was around 8, 9 years old. I was like, Mom and Dad, I want to be an actor. They said, what? What actress?
Puppy show.
Puppy show. They're like, no way. Like, how are you going to live off that? How is that going to sustain you? And I understand the concern. It wasn't a popular opinion to try to write and be an actor or that kind of creative, go down the creative path. It's lawyer, doctor, nurse, teacher, pastor. You know what I mean?
Engineer. Yeah.
Anyway, Zuri came into my life, praise the Lord for that. And you start opening your eyes to what's in right now. Like, what are kids listening to? What are they doing? What are they reading? And I just noticed time and time again, we were receiving books, gifted books, or when I'd go and purchase them, I didn't see enough representation. We hear this term from time to time, but it's real. And if I even tell you some stats, Mirthell, you'd be like, what? Like, I mean, there's this illustration that came out some time ago where it was in 2018 that over 50% of children's books are still by white authors. And then all the way when it comes to Black people or African American people, it's only 10%. So now, yes, with lead Black characters. So of course that's reflected in the bookstores. And I just said, no, I want to change how she sees the world a little bit, you know, compared to how it was when we were growing up. So yes, most definitely she helped accelerate and inspire.
Amazing job. And especially for little young girls of color, who now have a representation. We grew up in an era where it was the hardest thing to find a Black Barbie, or
come on now,
not to find a Black Barbie, but definitely other dolls that were maybe in another store that was much cheaper, that fell apart easy. You would find, I won't name those names, but those were where you'd find our dolls.
Yeah, don't forget about the hair that you couldn't comb.
Never comb it. You remove the arm, and then it's like, oh, you're gonna use out an arm.
Exactly.
The hair in the head comes off.
Yes, that's exactly what would happen. So yeah, I'm so happy to see the change, and even what your family is doing. You know, young kids are growing up and seeing people on camera and owning things and producing things, and it's just such a great change from where we're coming from. But we do know there's still work to be done.
So tell me a little bit about the series, the Amazing Zoe series. So the last time that we did an interview with you, me and Rita did that interview. It was on another show, but it was last year, June. And your book launched our Onyx Family Book Club, which is now about to be a year anniversary as well. So it's serendipitous, and it's just wonderful to have you back a year later to do the second interview, and now you're 3 books in. So tell me a little bit about the first book for those that didn't see the first book, and then the second and third.
Yeah, again, I'm so grateful for you guys opening the door and launching it with one of 3 books. I was the children's book for your launch. So this is what the first one looks like. It's The Amazing Zoe Defeats the Germlins. And that one is, the inspiration came from, of course, our original lockdown last year, 2020, with the coronavirus. The great thing about this book, like, I don't actually say COVID-19 or coronavirus because I wanted longevity to be there, right? So it alludes to it. The photos, some of the pictures look like the COVID-19 virus, but the real message is about health and safety and the importance of washing hands and hygiene and so forth for kids. You have 4 kids. You probably experienced how very early in life you had issues with wash your hands, brush your teeth, you know? Yeah. I'm sure you get it. This just kind of creates a visual for kids to understand the importance of washing hands, right? And then the second one, it's called The Amazing Zoe, A Queen Like Me. This one delves into African history, a little bit about African queens and princesses. It's something that, you know, especially a lot of little girls, they always want to be a princess. But let me tell you something about this, Mirthell.
Okay.
When the idea came to my mind about writing about African queens, I even checked Uganda. Like, I was just randomly checking African countries to see who is the queen and so forth. You won't even believe who popped up. Queen Elizabeth, the queen of Uganda and queen of many African countries. Yes, because because of the colonization. If you just Google it, queen of blah, 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 you'll see Queen Elizabeth pop up for a lot of these countries. And I was like, this is not right. This is not right. You know, I mean, just in the sense that we want to give children a more accurate depiction of who was royal, who was regal at the time and in Africa, because of course our history goes long before the transatlantic slave trade. So I just feel that it's important for Black little girls to see themselves as lead characters, as queens, as princesses, things that little kids like to see. That's what that book's about.
Oh man, that is perfect. I can just envision, especially if my children were younger, I would definitely be reading that to them as their bedtime stories, because I want them to be able to see beyond this limited scope of where we are today.
Yes, exactly.
And, that's great. That's wonderful. And so now you have another book that's about to launch. And what is that about?
Yeah, so that one, again, it's the Amazing Zoe, and it's called In Grandma's Memory Box. Zoe has a great relationship with her grandmother. Basically, she comes to find out that grandma is forgetting things that are important to Zoe, which once upon a time she would always know. And the discussion opens up about dementia and Alzheimer's disease. So unfortunately, grandma is touched with it, and they develop a way that they can help try to keep some memories alive. But at the end, Zoe was left with knowing that grandma will always love her, and she will always have love for her grandmother. Yeah.
I mean, how are you able to capture these really serious, difficult topics and turn them around to empower children? That's what's most wonderful about your books, honestly.
Thank you.
You really take things that you think like, no, you don't want to talk about that. You shouldn't touch that area. Go somewhere else. You go there and then take us on this beautiful journey. And I don't think that you're fluffing over either. You're dealing with the situation, but in such a wonderful way that is able to empower children to say, this is a tough thing you're going to go through, but here's how you can go through it and you're going to be okay.
Right. No, thank you for that. I do know that it's important to touch on these topics, because really at the end of it, yes, we want to protect children. We want to create the happy life for them. But you know what? Because as an extension to the parents and the families that they come from, sometimes these things affect the children too. Like, for example, if you look at a statistic, how many people in the world have dementia and Alzheimer's disease? It's over 50 million. Right? And that's from the Alzheimer's Society, right? Or association. We have society here in Canada. And what that means is if a family is affected by dementia and Alzheimer's disease, and of course it trickles down to a child, because children often have good relationships with their grandparents, right? And it's difficult. So I try to be sure that I don't make them dark. I don't make the stories dark. It's really important, as you mentioned, to capture the lesson, but also making it informative and still add a little fun to the story, right? So I'll be honest, sometimes I'll write through it and I have to scrap it because I'm like, the message isn't quite clear. Yeah. After, of course, I pray through it and I ask God to give me direction on the stories. And then in the end, I'm like, that's it, because it's just the inspiration, and I'm thankful for it.
That is a remarkable gift you've been given. Now I just see you are all over the place. I'm seeing you in Toronto blogs. I'm seeing you in the news. I'm seeing you doing interviews. How does it feel, and how do you get that kind of traction? There are other people that want to start their own businesses. They want to start being an author. What is the advice that you have for people that are starting out so that they can begin to kind of get that traction that you're getting?
Yeah, thank you for that. Well, you know what? I would say a few things. One thing for sure is don't expect overnight success, right? And I'm not even saying I'm there yet. I found in the first several months, so yes, we're a year in, by month 6 or so or 7, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not seeing the traction that I'd like to see. And, I'm still pushing, but you know what? It's a new niche. It's a new niche for me. And anything that you do, if it's new to you and you're doing it for the first time, you have to plant those seeds and you water those seeds, you till that ground until it starts to spring, and then it will blossom. So I'm giving God thanks that in my season now that I have been able to start gaining that traction after planting those seeds for the past several months. I think it's just very important too, when you have an idea, of course, number one, pray on it. Pray over your idea and listen. One thing my dad always used to teach me, he always used to be like, Valene, because he'd come into the car and he'd hear music, loud, right? And he'd be like, Valene, you have to turn down the music, turn it off and meditate, listen to the voice. And you know what? It's so true. Yeah.
They can't always have the booga booga music. Where's booga? I've never heard the booga booga music. Please tell me where the genre where I can go to iTunes and find booga booga. Because you must turn down the booga booga music.
And you've said that word too, booga booga.
They all say it. I just don't know where to find it.
Yes, he often would say that. And it's true. Like many times I'm driving and I just have the music off and you'll hear his voice. You'll hear God's voice telling you what to do next, who to speak to next, who to email next. So definitely develop that relationship with God and ask him for that inspiration and direction on the things that you do. I can't discount that. Most definitely, you can find the Amazing Zoe books in all bookstores now, large retailer stores like Barnes and Nobles. If you're in Canada, it's Indigo. You can visit my website, ValeneCampbell.com. It's my name, ValeneCampbell.com. And you can be directed to all of the sites where you can purchase the books. If you want to purchase from an independent store, because some people like to go to the independent store, you can just request it and it will be there as well. They can order it in.
I like to feed my soul by giving and sharing, especially with my family. So when I cook, I'm just sharing love on them. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I'm a foodie, so I love to eat and then share, and not just share the food, but share in dialogue. That's how I feed my soul, fellowship.
Yes.
So how do you feed your soul?
Yeah, for sure. It's communication with God. I just ask him, direct me the next time. That's really important for me because I never say these ideas come from me. I don't claim it. I claim that he plants the seed in me. Another thing is those who are really invested in where I'm going and what I'm doing, because they'll spend the time and read through the manuscripts or read through things and say, you know what, that's good, or maybe you should change that. And you have to be open and receptive to that, right? So I feed my soul through talking to my friends. And walks, I love to go for nature walks. I go literally every day. Must. And I like to walk by the water. I'll drive over to the water and I walk by the water with my daughter sometimes by myself. And that's how I feed my soul.
That is wonderful. And it has been great having you on my show, Feed the Soul with Mirthell. I wish you all the best, Valene, and for all the audience who has now been familiar with your books, you need to go out, especially if you have children that age, and get these books. They are such a wonderful addition to your library. They not only inspire, they teach, but they're just fun. And so thank you, Valene.
Thank you so much, Mirthell. So good to be here with you today, and happy cooking.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye now.
All right, the meal is ready. Let's check it out. So these are some of the fun condiments that you can put on top of your waffles. They can be natural, they can be alternative meats, or just some of your funnest sweeteners. Thank you for joining us on Feed the Soul with Mirthell, where it's our mission to tell the story, feed the soul, make them laugh, heal the heart. I hope you enjoy fixing this meal, and we'll see you next time.